Carlisle, you have friends all around the world. If enough knew the truth, maybe we could convince the Volturi to listen.
We introduced 30 new vampires in this film. And that, of course, was a big challenge, making sure that they each had enough impact that you understood who they were, where they came from, and that you felt some kind of completion to their story.
The first group is the Denali's. You know, that we've heard of them. Eleazar and Carmen are two of Carlisle's closest friends. They're actually the only coven that is also vegetarian. They live like the Cullens do.
The core of the Denali's are the sisters. You have Tanya and Kate and Irina. Back in the day, they had a mother, whose name was Sasha, who created the three of them. And then it's discovered that their mother has also created a vampire child, which is an illegal creation, and she and the child are killed. The sisters ended up feeling very lonely. Losing their mother affected them all really deeply, and so they looked to lose themselves in a lot of romantic pursuits and sort of started the rumors of the succubus back in the day that are still with us. Eventually, they settled down in Alaska. After all those years of seducing men and mostly killing them, they started to feel really bad about this. So they learned to control their appetites.
We will fight with Carlisle.
What's interesting is that, you know, many of these new vampires have really intricate, interesting backstories. For example, Eleazar, who sat with the Volturi for many years. Tanya had kind of dated Edward for a while. Each one of those ideas is in the movie, if you look closely enough.
Edward, you look so happy. I am jealous.
We first meet Irina at the wedding when she decides she just can't take it.
Well, the wedding, of course, is difficult in a lot of ways. I mean, Tanya comes to be gracious towards Bella and Edward. She wants to show them her support, but also they have Irina with them.
I can't do this. As we witnessed in New Moon, her lover was torn to little tiny pieces. They killed the lot.
They tried to kill Bella.
Irina wants to blame the Cullens. The Denali's understand that it wasn't the Cullens' fault, but nevertheless, Irina lost her mate.
The Rot wanted to be like us. He wanted to live in peace with humans.
It's drama, vamp drama.
But if you lose your mate, I think sometimes you lose your head along with it.
Coven is me and four gorgeous ladies, and eventually we get Garrett, another guy. You know, got to share.
Beautiful, intense Garrett, the wandering, nomadic American vampire.
We first find him in New Orleans, which, if you've ever been to New Orleans, you can imagine vampires roaming the streets at night and feeding on people.
Well, it's kind of instant love at first sight, you know?
I think Garrett always imagined himself alone, and Kate totally takes him by surprise, and she shocks the hell out of him.
He's a bit more flirty than Kate. She's a little standoffish.
You are an amazing woman. Can you imagine living for 200 years by yourself and finally finding that woman that blows your mind? She literally blows his mind.
So not only has Edward left Tanya for a human, no less, but her sister Kate has now found her mate, and Tanya is the only single vampire in the Denali clan, apart from Irina, of course. But at least Irina had a taste of a mate.
Carlisle's little group of friends include a lot of people he's met over the years. The oldest vampire, actually, that we ever see is Amun, who is part of the Egyptian coven. He's been around forever.
Amun is the man that created me as a vampire, and his mate, Kebi, and then my young mate, Tia. All very good-looking people, so it's a nice coven to be a part of.
That is scary.
Kebi was Amun's slave, the top slave in his household. And then when he turned her, she's just kind of kept that mentality that she's still sort of all about Amun.
Amun doesn't want us to meet the Volturi because he's been keeping Benjamin away from the Volturi because Benjamin has special talents.
Benjamin really hasn't been out in the world as a vampire or met other vampires. He's interested in fighting this fight with them.
I will join you. No. I will do the right thing, Amun. You may do as you please.
I think Amun has been around for a long time, and he knows the Volturi, he knows what they're capable of, He knows how dangerous the situation is.
So Rami and I were together one night, and we were just talking about Benjamin and Tia's backstory, and we came up with this story. Benjamin and Tia met when they were really young, when she was stealing a piece of bread. They fell in love. They would go to different places and kind of survive just working random jobs like selling roses or cleaning the kitchen at somebody's restaurant. And she would collect all the jewelry that she would either want to steal or buy. And the necklaces all have a representation of where they've been. It's really quite exciting to develop your character and have reasons for everything and real purpose behind everything you wear, every action you take, the people that you're with.
The Irish Coven are also friends of Carlisle's from early days. There's just the three of them.
Siobhan is the leader of the coven. She has a mate, Liam, and then also one other person, Maggie, in her coven.
They make you real pale. I'm already pretty pale, so they make me even more pale. And they put these contacts in, which was, I've always struggled with, because some people have an easier time with the contacts than me.
Gross. I cannot do that. I can barely even put my own eye drops in.
It's really interesting to be a young person playing a really old person who's from such an old country that has seen so much pain, and to not feel like I have to play the little girl. and I like that.
The Amazons show up, which is kind of a very cool feral tribe that doesn't interact with humans or other vampires very much.
We have a really special relationship. We're very close. We can kind of read each other, and our body language is similar.
Senna is a fighter, but she has a really maternal quality. She wants to protect Zafrina at all costs. That's her love.
It's something like, as you know, with your best friend or with your mom or with your sister or something like that, you have that bond where you can almost read each other's minds, or you know what someone's going to do before they do it.
And then we also have a bunch of nomads, some various friends. Peter and Charlotte are Jasper and Alice's friends from early in.
Peter is one of Jasper's oldest friends, and he was turned by the same vampire that turned Jasper.
Well, I was created as part of the newborn army that Maria had, and the officers were Jasper and Peter. And after my year was up and I was scheduled for execution, Peter saved me.
He was ordered to kill Charlotte, and he couldn't do it. I think that was the turning point for him, that he knew that this girl was his mate, and he was able to save her, and now his life is devoted to providing and protecting for her.
You know, we love to travel, long walks on the beach together.
The great thing about Mary is that she claims nowhere and answers to no one. I think that makes her coming to witness with the Cullens that much more impactful.
I am so glad I don't have to fight her. She's a little bit terrifying.
And then we have Alistair, who is another nomad, a good friend of Carlisle's, to Carlisle's opinion. Although Alistair doesn't have friends.
Sentries on the run, that's what you've brought me. Some friend, Carlisle. Alistair, come meet everyone.
I really loved writing Alistair, particularly after we cast Joe Anderson, who I'm a huge fan of.
I'll be in the attic.
He's awesome. He's British. He looks like Kurt Cobain, only a vampire.
Once you have that sort of an actor in your mind, you really can play to him. So I went back and expanded, not necessarily line count, but just the quality of what he's saying. He's a very funny character.
I must admit, you even had me believing for a moment. It's quite nice to be a little aloof and just to watch from the background. And I think it helps keep a little wariness. It means the other characters in the movie are just a little unsure. They can't quite put a finger on Alistair, and that's the way we like it, I think.
And there are these two party crashers. They're the Romanians.
They like to have a good time.
My character is Vladimir, and he is one of the very old vampires from the Romanian coven that the Volturi basically destroyed.
Vladimir is a little more cool-headed than Stefan.
We didn't do what we were accused of. We do not care what you did, Carlisle.
Stefan is more hot-headed.
We have been waiting a millennium for the Italian scum.
And they're a bit naughty. They're not bad, but they're kind of rough and tough.
The whole idea is get the hands moving, leaning forward.
I'm gonna collect rocks and just throw them at your feet while you were running.
One of my favorite things was introducing these new characters. That was also one of the biggest challenges.
We made a decision early on that we were going to split this movie into two. So you would think, okay, there's twice as much time, then we can include everything. Well, it turns out that's not true either, you know?
In the book, you have pages where you can talk about the history of 30 new vampires. On the screen, there's just much less time to do that.
Basically, the criterion was always, what is the story we're telling, and how does each scene play into that story?
Everyone's in there. I don't think I left anybody out. It's just that some of their stories come forward more than others.